Hey, hey. Good morning. Guess where we are? Guess what day it is? I've got answers for these questions because no guessing is required, really. It is the 6th. It is Thursday, the 6th of July. We are in the new studio that is not completely being moved into, but thus the background is imperfect. My name is Sean Shapiro. This is Ask a Traffic Cop, that place on the internet where we answer your traffic and police questions from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m., possibly a little, a few minutes longer than that. Occasionally we keep talking when we could have stopped. Good morning to everybody who's popping in on Instagram. Yeah, that's a thing. And now Instagram has launched Threads. So I'm really curious to know how many of you are using Threads. I created an account. I don't know if I'm going to use it yet. I just don't know. Ale, good morning. Be kind. Good morning. And Moody, good morning. We are broadcasting on TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Kick, and Twitter. But if you're on Twitter, we can't actually hear from you. You will have to go to trafficcop.ca and join us on one of our other platforms so we can actually see your questions. Good morning to Stephen Bell, who just said hello on the YouTube. We have JD. We have the moderator who is not JD. We haven't come up with a good, other name yet. Hey,
nice digs.
It's a little echoey in here, but yeah.
Yeah, pretty good.
I'll
be back to see you in a bit.
Sounds good. Sergeant Campbell just popped in to say hello. There's a door now. We have a door. This is major moves up in the world. I've not had a door in 2.5 or 3 years, but we have a door. We have a door. The JD, not JD, just muted me and unmuted me. I don't know if you missed that, but we have a door and it's a big upgrade. It's a little bit of an echoey thing. Let me know if you can hear that. But let me know if you can hear that. I'd be really curious to know because we're waiting for sound treatment, but it hasn't happened yet. So I'm curious to know what your feedback is. Is there feedback? Yes. What do we got here? We have. Instant Chat wants to know why all cops are bald. I don't think it's an all cops are bald situation. I will say that there are many of us who choose to shave our heads because getting into a fight, unfortunately, somebody's touching microphone that's causing things to happen. We're having a keyboard. Certain letters on a keyboard will. Oh, he's muting his own mic now. Okay. I don't know if you're missing parts of what I'm saying, but the deal is that, if you're going to be on the street, if you're going to be working, and if you're going to be arresting someone, if you have long hair, you can get into a fight and they can grab it. So we shave our heads or keep our hair short. I have the benefit of having to maintain less hair because I have somewhat of a receding hairline. Nature knew that I was going to be a police officer and wanted to make sure I was safe on the road, so they just took care of it. So I have less hair than others, but I got to tell you, I like the aerodynamics of it all. Okay. We have Dustin, who says, good morning. How are you today? He's coming in from Twitch because we are, Twitch and all these platforms allow you to see or to send messages, and I can simply select you and say hello and share your message. So it really does make life very easy. When you're coming in from TikTok, I keep saying our moderator. I want to say our moderator, but really he's the producer. He's taking your questions and putting them on to the other screen there. He's cutting and pasting for you. So that's how we got Brad's question. I want to start off with something before we get into these questions because there's a bunch of them. I want to talk to you quickly about Vision Zero Enforcement Team. That's how I start every show. I explain what they are and where they are today. So here's the skinny on that. The deal is that Vision Zero Enforcement Team where are they? Where's my tweet? I'm refreshing. Must refresh. Let's see if it loads, so I can actually give you the information that I'm suggesting. Here we go. Look at that. July 6th. It's right there. Okay. Vision Zero Enforcement Team is very simply an enforcement team that is there to enforce the Highway Traffic Act. They go out every day and they work to change driver behavior one ticket at a time. And they do just that. They issue you tickets if they catch you breaking the law. So what kind of tickets are they issuing? What are they focused on when they're out on the road? They're looking for people who are choosing to speed, drive aggressively, drive distracted, or drive impaired. And sadly, we have a lot of people who do that. every single day. So there's no shortage of work for them to do. But they are doing a great job. And they are currently, or today, spending time focused in 23 Division and 41 Division. If you don't know where those divisional boundaries are, those are in neighborhoods like Rexdale, Jamestown, Martin Grove, Dorset Park, Kennedy Park, Birchcliff, Cliffside. And real people live there, real people who deserve to be safe. And people crossing through, and sometimes people who live there, are making it less safe for everybody else. So hopefully a ticket or maybe a charge criminally will change their behavior, making it safe for everybody else. Okay. With Vision Zero discussed, I will briefly mention the fact that we will be here right until 11, if not a little longer. And we'll cover a couple of topics aside from answering your questions. We'll be discussing how you can support Special Olympics Ontario by buying a raffle ticket to win a 2022 Harley-Davidson Touring Street Glide. I didn't get a call, so I guess I didn't win the $500 Harley-Davidson gift card yesterday. I didn't check their website to find out if anyone did. Well, somebody had to have, but I didn't get the announcement. Or maybe the draw is today, and yesterday was I don't know. Okay. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about if you want to become a member of the Toronto Police Service, because we are hiring, and we're always looking for good people to join our ranks. All right. There was a question coming in from Instagram from Matt, and it's, what time of day are headlights to be on? It's not based on a specific time. It's based on sundown. And you need to have daytime running lights are usually on all the time, but you have to have your headlights on a half an hour before sundown and a half an hour after sunrise, is what I believe it to be. It's different than if you have a motorcycle. This is where the confusion is. Actually, is it the same timing? Let me look it up. Now I want to know. Let me see if I can find it, actually. Maybe I'll do that while we break in a bit. Good morning to my wife, who is watching on YouTube, and often jumps in to help us out in the mod business when no one is around. So thank you to her. Let's see what's going on here. We have questions from all over the place. We have Michael, who jumped in before the show to say, what did he say? He said, one more thing. No, things are scrolling. Stop the scrolling, Twitch, stop. Okay, one more thing, a video on TikTok knocked out over speed camera, comments claiming it is... that's interesting. So somebody knocked over a speed camera and it was alleged that they cost money? It would be cheaper not to have them? I disagree, and it's not about money, but okay, actually, let's say it would be cheaper not to enforce laws and only wait until people hurt other people, and then I imagine that would be, we're trying to save lives. We're trying to prevent people from getting hurt. So people who make those allegations don't know what they're talking about, but like to hear themselves speak. I like to hear myself speak. Apparently I do a lot of speaking. Stop speeding at speed cameras. They cannot make a buck off you if you're registered. Well, yeah, that is a solution. If you don't break the law, you don't get tickets. It's amazing that way. And what else? This is just finalizing the final message from Michael, who said, it may be summer, but the families do not. I don't know if this is part of a conversation that I was not privy to. I feel left out. Okay, moving on. So I live in Brampton, and everyone's doing what is this? U-turns? Where are the U-turns? Is it legal? So is it legal to do a U-turn? Let's talk about U-turns, because people seem to think that they are just safe. They're not safe. By the way, I'm melting in here because there's absolutely no air movement at all. There's no vents. I got to get a fan, which would probably sound terrible. So I'd like it to be winter in this room and only in this room. In any case, it is warm. That's the reason I am melting. The deal with U-turns, are they legal? They're legal unless they're not legal. So it depends on where the U-turn is taking place. If there's a sign, obviously it's not legal there. If you're at an intersection, why people think they can make a U-turn on a red light, I'll never understand, but it is illegal to make a U-turn on a red light because you're proceeding before green or failing to stop for a red light, depending on what you're doing. But it's dumb and it's not legal. In terms of other places that's not legal, well, anywhere it's unsafe to do it, it would be illegal because you must make sure it's safe prior to engaging in that. You cannot perform a U-turn at a crest of grade with limited visibility or a curve, same deal, limited visibility. Can't do it in front of a bridge, viaduct, tunnel, or railway track. These are all common sense, but sadly, there's nothing common about common sense anymore. Sadly. Hitting the wave button. Wave, wave, wave. What do we do here? Wave. One more wave. Okay. Boom, boom, boom. Let's see what's going on here. All right. Tim Shallow. Did I give you a shout out already yet? But he says, good morning. When will, as questions come in, I can't. Well, I can. The things just keep scrolling. So as more people put questions up, they scroll. And then if I was reading it before being quick on the draw, I was not quick on the draw. All right. I should do a tech request to maybe they stop having the automatic punch to the bottom business. Can you get a careless driving ticket for a rear end accident, even if it avoided a worse accident? Well, first of all, there's no accidents, there's collisions, and you can certainly get a careless driving charge while involved in a collision, because the first collision that you avoided probably wouldn't require you to do anything that caused a second collision if you were driving in such a way that you would have avoided the original collision without causing the second collision. So you likely, it sounds like you're still at fault, or whomever the mysterious person is who created this question by virtue of whatever happened in their lives. Hey, if you're watching and you don't know who I am, my name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police officer with the Toronto Police Service, and I go live on social media to answer your traffic and police questions. If you have a question, please ask it. Unfortunately, we can't hear you on Twitter, so jump onto any one of the many platforms we're currently broadcasting on. But the big thing is, if you don't ask questions, we just talk about whatever I want to talk about, and you may not like that. But I am here to help. That's the whole goal here. And you can help me too. And the way to help me is to share this live, like this live, and engage with us, talk to us. This is what we're here for. It's great. You're welcome to simply watch, and many people do. I know people who watch, listen, and never comment. Some people comment all the time, and you're both welcome. But things do move along better when we have lots of things to talk about. Okay. Okay. Stephen, this is a follow-up to a previously asked question. He said he gave me the wrong year for the van, his mother-in-law's van. It's a 2010, not a 2017. Can she put a sunbrow that tint strip on the top of the windshield? A 2010 is legal to have a tint strip, 3 inches or 75 millimeters, whichever measuring unit you'd like to go by. Yeah, it can. It can go on there. 2017 is the first year you cannot have one. All right, scrolling back. Akela Draconis, good morning to you. Greetings and salutations, as he most commonly says. U-turns in Brampton, almost as common as speeding, is his statement. And what he means is illegal U-turns. Sadly, there is a huge number of people who simply break the law on the regular. They don't have any respect for it. Some of them do it because they don't know. Others do it because they don't care. Both are wrong, truly. Can you have a ticket or get a ticket for aftermarket exhaust? Really depends on whether or not that aftermarket exhaust is legal or not. If you have an illegal exhaust, it's illegal. If you have a legal one, it's legal. And therein lies the situation. That's the problem. If you put a straight pipe, which some people would call an exhaust, but it doesn't have a muffler. Well, it is an exhaust, but it doesn't have an exhaust, a legal muffler and resonator and so on. It's a straight pipe. That's an exhaust. It's just not legal. So it depends. You still have to meet the requirements. Do you think speed cameras everywhere is a good idea? Oddly enough, I do. I think that measuring people's speed. See, what we have now is we have a risk, a chance, the odds. People take risks because they likely know that there's not enough police officers to stop everybody all the time. So they do what they want, and they take a risk. And maybe they get stopped and maybe they don't. And maybe for all the times they choose to speed and break the law, they get away with it until they don't, until they kill somebody or involved in a collision or get caught. Ideally, if we created an environment where you're always going to get caught, maybe people would make better choices. Maybe they'd act like grown-ups and do the safe thing. And if they wanted to go fast, they'd take it to the track, which is where I'm going to be next weekend or this coming weekend. I'm going to be going to the track because I'm going to go hang out with my buddy who has a race car and watch the car race, because that's what race cars do. And that's where speeding should take place, not on the road. So I absolutely think that a vehicle that is speeding should be caught and the driver should be prosecuted. Now, I just got back from England, and I was in England, I was in Scotland, Ireland, I was in France. They handle speed differently, especially in the UK. They have speed cameras everywhere. They measure you when you enter the road. They measure you when you exit the road. They take a picture of the driver in both situations, and if your average speed was speeding between the 2 points, well, they know that you were speeding, even if you were. I mean, and they give you the benefit of the doubt because the speed is a little bit lower than it would have been at your peak because that's an average for the entire time sped. But they hold you accountable. I guess if you wanted to keep paying, for tickets, you can do whatever you want. But at the end of the day, it's your driver's license and it's your ability or your privilege to drive. And if you want to give away that privilege, it's on you. Sometimes that ends with tragedy. But anyway, moving along. AJ the Awesome has an issue with his cat. Well, first of all, you have a cat. That's the first issue. Second of all, it intentionally or unintentionally urinated on his bed, and he'd like that cat arrested for trespassing and damaging his property. Can't help you there, my friend. But I do know. Well, I'm not going to say so. Some cat lover somewhere is going to hate me for what I was about to say. That said, I am allergic to cats. I like cats just fine, but I'm allergic to them. So, sworn enemies. What? I don't know what this question is, but we're going to talk about it. Hello, officer. Hello. Is there any enforcement in the integrity of a vehicle other than a safety check? What do you mean? Like, we will stop a vehicle. Regardless of driving, we can stop a vehicle to check the driver to ensure that they are licensed, sober, insured, and then the safety of the vehicle to make sure it has lawful exhaust, that everything is safe. We'll look for emission stuff too. Is that what you meant? Maybe. Got to drive again. I can listen to TikTok with the screen off. TikTok is back in terms of that feature. Apparently, it had not worked for a week or so. But yes, if you're using TikTok to listen to this live stream, you can close your phone, at least on an Apple device, and continue to listen with the screen off, making it legal. And legal is good. I'm a big proponent for legal or of legal. When will license plates be issued for e-scooters? This is Andrew asking the question from LinkedIn. Good morning, Andrew. Nice to see you, sort of. Can't really see you, but I see your comment, and it's good to see you. Hear from you. Anyway, I don't know if there's any plan for an e-scooter to be licensed, and I think that there should be because they're responsible for running red lights too, and maybe we can put them on the automated enforcement program if they fail to stop for red lights. In any case, I'm not aware of any plan to bring them into that fold. What do you think? Should they? Seriously, let me know in the comments. And speaking of comments, what can I comment about? Oh, I mentioned briefly the Harley, and being that it's 19 minutes after the hour, I should probably put it on screen and give you the quick rundown on what this is. So, HarleyRaffle.ca, that's the website, takes you to a place where you can buy a Harley raffle ticket. I know, shocking, right? One ticket for $23, for $58 for $100, which is obviously the best deal, and that's what I chose to go with when I bought my tickets. So if you choose not to buy tickets, just know you're increasing the odds of me winning. That's the message. I'd like to win the new bike. Okay, back to here. Boom, boom, boom. Stephen Bell says, I believe that speed kills. So slow down and go the speed limit. How hard is it? How hard is that? It's easy to do. It really is easy to do. And I do it. I do the speed limit, and it drives other drivers crazy. And I think that's good. If someone has a bad day because I did the right thing, then they really have no one to blame but themselves because they have bad attitudes. I can't be upset with someone for doing the right thing. You're doing the wrong thing. That's it. But very often, I watch the lights, the brake lights flashing as people continue speeding up, slowing down, speeding up, wasting gas, and not getting anywhere that much faster. Marginal difference. So I just take it easy. And I listen to my radio show or I listen to a podcast, whatever it is. I get to relax on my drive-in. And I don't think the people who are in a rat race, leaving late and stressing out about being late, those are the people who are probably making those decisions. Because if you have nowhere to be, if you gave yourself sufficient time, why would anybody speed? It's just silly. Okay, you want to go fast? I get it. Go take it to the track. It's so easy. So easy. Okay. Why don't you? What is this? Why don't you guys control more transport trucks in the passing lane? They don't have any respect. Well, they're legally in the passing lane unless there's a sign preventing them from being there, and we do enforce the rules for everybody. Now, the big question is, who don't they respect? If they're doing 100, the speed limit is 100, they're legal, aren't they? Why should anyone get out of your way? If you want to go faster than 100, hand in your license, your driver's license. You shouldn't be on the road. People will not like that comment. But seriously, the rules are the rules. Don't like the rules? Work to get them changed. Otherwise, follow them. Kelvis has a question. Hey, wondering if there's a film permit or exemption that I could apply for to out red and blue lights on my ex-police interceptor when I go to car shows for the purpose of photography. Cover them while you're in transport. While you're on private property, you can have them. But do you need a film permit just to show your car? No. A film permit is for filming. For commercial film. That's where you're on private property. I don't even know if you need a film permit. That's outside of my scope. But in terms of can you have red and blues while you're in transport? If you're towing the vehicle, it's not a big deal. If you're driving the vehicle, I would put a hood on them saying not in service. What if the car has a loud exhaust stock or loud stock exhaust, mostly coal? The deal is this. How loud? Like if it was truly stock, then it's a legal, approved exhaust system. It had to be sold in Ontario. However, if your driving behavior creates unnecessary noise, you're revving it, you're redlining it, that's on you, and that's where you're going to get the ticket, not because the exhaust is loud, because you are loud. Okay. Why don't you make the left lane a passing lane only? Would easily fix traffic. Well, it is considered the passing lane, but you're not allowed to exceed the speed limit to pass. So if you're passing someone who's doing 100, you're unlawful. So you couldn't use the passing lane. Right? The idea of a passing lane is to pass slower moving traffic, traveling below the speed limit, because you're not allowed to exceed the speed limit. AJ the Awesome says, severe audio lag. The audio compared to the video. I don't know if anyone else is experiencing it. I've been dealing with this for a while, and I'm just running a speed test to see what we've got here going on. Getting good response. And the audio, I'm not sure why this is happening. We've got fairly good. Let me see if maybe this is the cause. Full high definition. I do see this. Apparently I cannot change this. For some reason, and I don't know why, this stream is in high def 1080p. I've been using 720 to resolve this. I don't know why but I'm hearing that it's not a problem on our producer's computer. So this could be something that reloading the feed might help. But thanks for letting us know. It's really important for me to hear about these things, because I want to make sure then you are getting the best review. Oh, Akila is getting it too. So YouTube is getting the lag. Anybody? Oh, very big lag so lots of people are getting lag. Interesting. Now I want to see. I want to experience it myself. Not that I don't believe you. I totally believe you. But I do want to see what's going on and why. Why is it happening? Oh, it's terrible. I bet you it's simply the pipe. We've been having far more load on our intranet here. I imagine that's what the problem is. Wow, that's really disappointing. I can't change it midstream apparently, so I won't. But I'd like to. I want to fix it. So apologies to those who are dealing with it. Hey, Big Jeff Fresh, tried refreshing. I'm seeing it here too. It's terrible. And I just don't know why, other than it seems to be in relation to sharing a 1080p stream, which, yeah, look great. A little sweaty, but great in terms of quality. And I don't know why it reverted, because we've been for weeks now running at 720, which was fine. It's good enough. I don't need to be high def. And okay. AJ says we've dealt with worse. TikTok, do you have lag too? I don't think I can test the lag on TikTok. Someone from TikTok, let me know if it's beans. Yes, needs to be switched. Oh no, let's see here. Okay, there's all sorts of conversation going there. If you are asking questions that you'd actually like me to be able to respond to, put a Q before your question on TikTok in particular. The other platforms don't need to do that. And it looks like it's being done already. Leafs for the Cup has a question. At a pedestrian crosswalk, let's start there. At a pedestrian crosswalk that has cars stopped going east and west, are cars allowed to turn north and south? Well, I think you need to have a little more context here, or we need context. I understand that it's a pedestrian crosswalk. Is there a pedestrian in the crosswalk? What direction are they going? Are they on your side or the other side of the road? Because you must yield to pedestrians in the crosswalk, but you don't need to stay there the entire time, unless, of course, there's a crossing guard present, because we're talking about crosswalks at an intersection. So if a pedestrian passes you, they're coming off the curb, they pass your side of the road, then they can cross through. Apparently, Big Chef Fresh says that TikTok has the same lag. Thank you for letting me know. The deal is that once they pass your side, there's no one that you're interfering with. You've yielded to them, and then you can go. But that's the deal. It's about what the pedestrian is doing when they're lawfully in the road, on the road, not in the roadway. They're on the roadway. Think about that. We have the question of questions. That's not the question I wanted to press. This is the question that I wanted to press. Sorry I missed this, but your studio looks a little bare. What's up? This is a different studio. And actually, let me just show you this. Whoop, whoop. This is a totally different space. It's a much larger space. It is a much warmer space. But we've not yet fully moved in. I'm actually impressed that I was able to get all this stuff functioning in here in time for the live today. But there's lots of things that are coming, decorations, things. I have a cool LED board that's going to go up behind. There's lots of cool stuff coming. But thanks for noticing. Smoking a dart. Can I still drive to a shop if my catalytic converter is stolen, or do I have to tow it? It is reasonable, although technically illegal, to drive with a vehicle without a catalytic converter. But let's say you had it stolen and you just found out about it, and you call police and you make a report, and then you drive to the mechanic shop. We could substantiate. You'd be able to say, "I reported it. Here's the report number." It's somewhat reasonable. If you drive for a week, a month, a year with that report saying, "I'm just going now," which means you've been driving with it for a month, a week, whatever, then you should expect a ticket. But being that I have discretion as an officer investigating you, I would be able to make that call. Do I have to give you discretion? No, I could charge you. Is it reasonable to do that? I don't think so. So I would likely just say, okay, on your way. Okay, AJ has a question. Are there any laws pertaining to how bright headlights can be? I've been seeing cars with blinding headlights more often now, almost any Ford truck. There are laws. There are maximum lumens ratings. I think it's 3,000s. Is it lumens or candela? Anyway, I think it's 3,000. At the end of the day, if it's blinding you, it's probably not directed properly, more so than brightness. And there are issues with that. We've been seeing vehicles from the factory or from the dealership where the dealership has not focused the light. And it needs to be directed and focused properly. Every vehicle has the ability to do that. And that may be the reason why so many people are having blinding lights. Because let's face it, people know less stuff these days. And I don't mean you. I mean, like, you go to a company, you work there, you may or may not be a skilled technician. You may not be checking to confirm this stuff that maybe once upon a time more people did. So that's the story. It's falling. These issues are falling through the cracks and right into our eyes. Yes, I look forward to seeing it all done too. It is very cool. I had to bring a Murray chair in. Where's the Murray chair? It's behind me. I had to bring a Murray chair in because Sergeant Campbell wanted to ensure I didn't forget his chair when I moved into the new office. Big Jeff Rice says, they cleaned out the janitor closet for me. This is actually, like I said, a much bigger space. Much bigger. And I like it. I like it a lot. We've been talking about this for a long time. Very quickly, for those, being that we are at the half point in the show, for those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police officer with the Toronto Police Service, and I go on social media to answer your traffic and police questions. Today, from a dark room without any decorative stuff on the walls, but we're here, and it'll only get better from here. If you're watching and you don't know how to be fully interactive, because you could be on Twitter going, why is he ignoring me? I can't actually see you. But if you join us on TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Kick. I almost got us on Telegram yesterday, but I think it crashed live. More on that will come. But I created a space on Telegram, and I want to make sure that I have every platform, the best platforms. Gotta have the best. The Bear was more prompt. Well, it was also better lit. And the TVs were on, and I was closer, but I could, there's a lot of space in here. It's good. In fact, my desk is on wheels, and I'll be able to rotate for different backgrounds, for different sets. We have tables and chairs here that we can bring out and actually have a round table TikTok or not TikTok, but podcast session where we have multiple people in the party. We can do all sorts of things. We're growing the show. We're making it better. We're making it better for you. You're the reason we do this. Okay. Logic 101. Speed kills, always agreed, but people who drive slow intentionally also kill, especially if you are driving on the highway when it's rush hour, everyone's doing the speed limit, and you have one person doing 75. In rush hour, nobody's doing the speed limit. Everyone's doing like 10, because that's what Toronto traffic is. But I agree with you that someone doing half the speed limit can be an issue. And we have charges for unnecessary slow driving, which are appropriate to lay in that situation, especially if they're not in the, if they're in the left lane, the passing lane. But the issue is more so the speed differential between the speeder and anyone who's following the law in any way. Because it's not unlawful to go below the speed limit. It is unlawful to go significantly below the speed limit for no reasonable reason. Unreasonably. I don't know, I'm making up words here and using them improper. Anyway, the deal is that if you were doing 100 in a 100 zone, there's a significant speed differential to the person doing 130, and they're breaking the law. But many people want to say that the person who's following the law is the bad person in this scenario, and it's not. It's the speeder. And until we can identify that the speeder is the problem, we can't even get past that, because that is the biggest issue. But I'm totally behind the speed kills concept. And people say, well, no, if everyone's going 130, then isn't that safe? You're going with the flow. The problem is, at 130, you cannot react, or you have less time to react to changes up ahead. So at 130, if someone, sees something on the road, swerves to avoid, suddenly there's a multi-car pileup. And we see this all the time. Now, my example is the Don Valley Parkway, but I can't tell you how many times we have 6 or 7 cars involved in a collision. It's not because everyone was going slow and was able to respond because they had sufficient time for their brain to respond to the visual observations or the observance of the changes up ahead, and then tell their body to do the appropriate thing. Half the time they're on their phones. So that's a different story. Paid tourist. Do you ever enforce DRL, only night driving? Daytime running lights? There's hundreds with no lights on. Is it daytime running lights? I'm not sure what DRL is. We enforce daytime running lights aren't a requirement for you to have on. They're a requirement for manufacturers to install in motor vehicles. You can't get a charge that I'm aware of for no daytime running lights. But if you don't have headlights on at the appropriate time, then yes. And if you're talking about daytime running lights only at night, then yes, it's improper headlights. You're actually running a low-powered high beam, and you're not running any of the rear markers, which are absolutely required for safety. So, was that something I ticketed people for? Yeah, on the regular, because it's easy. It's easy, and it's a serious safety concern. I can't tell you how many vehicles I see driving at night without their full headlighting system on. It is pathetic. It's pathetic. Either you're borrowing somebody's car and you don't know how to use your headlight system, which means you're responsible, or you, the one time that in recent history in the last 5 years that I remember not having my full headlight system on was when I pulled up to somebody else coming out of a mall because they didn't have their headlight system on, and I give them crap by honking their horn. I'm finger wagging and I sign languaging and trying to get anything to communicate, and I finally roll down the window and yell, "Your headlights are off!" And then I look down and I realize mine are too. I promptly corrected that problem, and the reason was I figured it out. It's because I took my car to the mechanic. And when the mechanic works on your vehicle, they put it on the hoist, they turn off the headlight system from automatic to off because they don't want to be blinded inside while working and walking around. And then they never turn it back on to the setting you had. So whenever you pick up your vehicle from the mechanic, make sure to turn on your automatic headlight system again if you have one. Are you allowed to have underglow and tinted windshield on your car? Let's start with let's reverse the order. Tinted windshield is absolutely illegal. You cannot tint your front windshield at all, not one bit, nothing, not a zilch. Unless your vehicle is 2016 or older, in that point you can have a 3-inch tint strip across the top. But otherwise, nothing. A lot of people get tickets for that. In fact, it's unsafe motor vehicle. Pull your license plates for that. Get towed home. In terms of underglow, there's no underglow law in Ontario. That said, if it's improperly installed and the bulbs are visible, shining light directly forward or back, well, you're back to headlight problems. You're sending colored light, or light in any case, in a direction other than the direction it's supposed to go. So you can be charged for that. Are aftermarket mufflers legal even with them? Are aftermarket exhausts legal even with them having a muffler and resonators? I think you meant to say, are they illegal? And the answer is, if the aftermarket or non-original manufacturer produced muffler or exhaust system with a muffler and a resonator meets or exceeds the requirements of the law, then it's legal. It's if it doesn't meet the requirements. So if you put one on that's a little throatier, a little better performance, better freer breathing, but it meets the requirements of the law, then it's legal. And if it doesn't, it's not. It depends. There's no easy answer. My question from Billy Wang, or his question, if a car is parked in a bike lane and the driver is still in the seat, can a biker ask them to move? We've had this identical question. I don't know if it was you or somebody else, but it was can bikers ask them to move? Well, you're bloody illegally parked, so they're being kind if they say please move. Yelling and screaming at you to move is also not illegal. And usually what I see on TikToks is people screaming at drivers. Well, you're illegally parked. What do you expect? Move your bloody vehicle, because if I catch you, it's just going to be a ticket. And I would lay the charge under the HTA as opposed to the bylaw. Parking enforcement officers would lay the charge under the bylaw, which means it goes against your license plate. I, being a very big proponent of safety, even bicycle safety, despite what the bicycling community thinks of my opinions on stop signs and helmets, because I think that they should follow the stop signs and wear helmets. But anyway, I want to keep them safe. So I would absolutely ticket the driver of that vehicle under the HTA so it went against their driver's license. There is no excuse for this. Get out of bike lanes. Don't go there. And yes, if someone asks you to move, smarten up and move, because that's the right thing to do. I'm not going to try and pronounce this name because I would do it very badly. Who is at fault if I'm turning left on lights in downtown Toronto? Way is clear, but someone came running. When you mean someone, do you mean like a pedestrian running down the street and across the crosswalk? Running is bad. I mean, not only do people get shin splints and other exercise-related injuries, but when you come up to an intersection, people are expecting you to be doing walking speed, looking left and right, and before entering. If they run without even pausing and don't make any checks, I would hope that you have a dash camera, because when you hit them, you're going to want that evidence. So it's going to hurt their case. They probably won't get paid. But you're always at fault if you're turning. You are responsible to make sure that you can complete that turn in safety, and you must be able to adapt to changes up ahead. So if someone does run into your path, you've got to be able to do your very best to stop. And if you do hit them, there's mitigating factors in the case against you. They were running. Could it help you? Possibly. Who's it up to? Not the police. We're going to lay the charge, and then it's going to be up to the courts and the insurance companies who ultimately decide a whole bunch of stuff. Why are the uniforms black and not blue? This is apparently a dark blue shirt. At least that's what they have us believe. Dark blue. Looks black. Exotic cars without front license plates. I thought they were mandatory. This is a silly rich people thing, I think. They think that the car either goes faster or looks significantly better without a license plate, and they just generally get charged $110 whenever they're pulled over, unless they meet me, because then I would see that they were charged multiple times previously, and then I would summons them to court, because we can escalate these things, send them right to court. They cannot or have no exemption under law and must display a front plate, and not on the front windshield. Tow hook adapters, my friends, they are the gift from heaven that solves the issue. Your car still looks cool, even though you have a front license plate displayed. It's so silly. Just put a bloody plate on it. Don't drive here. What is this? Why are officers so focused on stopping the Ontario car scene? You mean the illegal Ontario car scene? Like the dum-dums who do dumb stuff and then get dumb laws put onto the books? Do you know what stunt driving is because people did dumb stuff? Thank you to the people who did dumb stuff, because it is exactly why we created laws. There is a problem. You know, when people put signs and it says, please put the toilet seat down, or don't flush paper towel down the toilet, or this isn't your mom's house, please clean up after yourself. It's because someone did a dumb thing. And then someone had to make a law or a rule or a sign. We're not against car people. We are car people. We're against dumb stuff. Akela reminds that we are not focused on stopping the Ontario car scene. We're looking to stop the agents of chaos and their adventures to make roads unsafe everywhere. Aha. Question. But if you're from a province that doesn't need a front plate, you're fine to drive in Ontario? Yes. You are actually exempt. You are not required to display two because, well, hey, you don't have to. Okay. Dre Studios, what's going on, my friend? Is it illegal to display your license plate in your front windshield? Yes, it is. So you have to know that everything under the HTA is regulated well, I shouldn't say that. When it's regulated very specifically. When it's not regulated specifically, it's the absence of the regulation or specifics that gives us direction. And yes, that's confusing, and I understand, but that's the HTA. So in this particular situation, the regulation states that it must be in the front of the vehicle in a conspicuous place. Front of the vehicle means the front of the vehicle, not 30% in at the windshield behind a piece of glass. You cannot put anything, even if it was in the front of the vehicle, on the bumper. You cannot put a piece of glass in front of it. So the windshield being a piece of glass is absolutely an obstruction. But just being that it's not mounted in the appropriate place is against the law. You're not displaying it. You're not displaying it in accordance with the regulation. But tow hook adapter, okay. Left and right side of the bumper, okay. Zip tied to the grill if need be, also okay. But windshield, no go. Toronto millionaire has a question. What's the deal with plate covers? I heard they are legal, but the dealerships, I think you meant illegal, but the dealerships give them out. The dealerships don't care about you. They care about advertising and putting their name out there. They don't care about you. They don't care about the fact that could cause you to get a ticket, $110 ticket. any plate cover, any plate frame is technically illegal. Are we pulling over 99% of the cars to charge them with a $110 fine? No. Despite the fact that we are accused of being tax collectors, and that would be an easy way to collect tax, if that this is alone the reason why the response to those who accuse us of being tax collectors. No, that is a ticket that if it's obstructing the plate in any way, shape, or form, is eligible, or you are eligible for. Usually it results in us saying, hey, take that off. And then we put a warning in, and then if you haven't taken it off, well, maybe then you'd be eligible for a ticket. You are eligible for the ticket. I wouldn't write the ticket unless you'd received a warning. That's just me. Everyone's different. Plastic covers, tinted covers, bubble covers, those are all illegal. But again, unless it's actually preventing me from reading the plate easily, I'm probably not going to write you the ticket. I'll probably write you a warning and then see what happens next. Nico Dora. A question we've not seen in a while. What happens if I forgot my driver's license at home when leaving the house? Well, if you just left the house, I would suggest going back to get it, and I've done that before. But in terms of what happens if you're pulled over after you've left the house and you do not have it with you and cannot surrender it upon demand of a police officer, you get a ticket, $110. There's no fix-it ticket. There's no show it to me in an hour or a day or anything. It's just illegal. You have to surrender it, along with your ownership document or a photocopy, what's called a true copy, both sides of the document, and an insurance, proof of insurance is also required. If you don't have any one of the three of those, you're looking at 110 for the license, 110 for the ownership document, and 65 for the insurance card or lack thereof. Sager says, can I put my windows tint more than 30% except front seats, windows, and windshield? The windows, okay, so we haven't had tint questions in a while. And the deal is that tint, I pressed the wrong button. Tint, you can tint your rear passenger windows and your rear window or cargo area as dark as you want. In fact, most vehicles from factory have privacy tint, which is probably greater than 30%. So you could black them out, you could paint them solid. Think about a vehicle like a cargo van. They don't have rear windows. But the ones directly left and right of the driver, which are the only ones addressed in law that I'm aware of, and the windshield, cannot be more than 30% for safety certification. Now, if it is 30%, which is legal for installation, but I can't see in, you have obscured the interior of your motor vehicle, which is yet another charge under the Highway Traffic Act. You have no right to pick your nose in private. You must be identifiable through the window. So if at daytime you can see clearly and identify, but at nighttime you can't, guess what? At nighttime, your windows are too dark and you shouldn't be driving that vehicle at night. So will you get a ticket at night? You would from me and from most of my colleagues. Can I attach additional aftermarket roof lights to my truck and use them on public roads? Most of the time, those roof racks are off-road only. They're not focused or directional, and you have a maximum number of bulbs, projector bulbs over 300 candela, that can be projected forwards onto the road while you're driving. So the answer is 99.99% no. I'm not aware of a product that is legal for the road use at that angle from the roof. So they're off-road lights. So there may be some strange contraption that I've not accounted for, which I will give that 0.01% as a potential, as a possibility, but I don't think there's anything. By the way, hi Tracy, hi Emma, hi anybody else on TikTok that I've not acknowledged individually, but Tracy and Emma are here helping out as they always do. They have been around for a while. Emma, the longest, she was the first person that I ever on TikTok brought onto the screen. I'm pretty sure, first person. Am I making that up? No, I'm pretty sure first person. You were having a Tim Hortons that day in your backyard. I remember it like it was yet. I don't remember it that much. Okay. The expense of getting new plates. Let's look at this. The expense of getting new plates is because of weathering is more expensive than keeping the cover on it. Well, that's not true. They're expensive. So first of all, if they faded within 5 years, they're covered under a warranty and it's no charge. If you are talking about outside of that 5-year warranty, then it's $52. The charge for having a cover on it is $110, which you can get every single day. You can actually multiple times a day. So it could be dramatically more expensive to have a tint cover or a cover of any kind. I understand the reason you'd want it, but it's not accurate as to what you're saying. Why do TPS cruisers park all over the downtown and nap? They have lunch breaks in their car. That's a possibility. They may be writing a report and not actually napping, as you are suggesting, but they can be all over the place, parked, and usually it's out of service, completing a report. I don't know if they look like they're napping then, and I'm sure some people abuse things and actually do nap, and I can't speak to that because that's not me. Does G1 or G2 driver need to be put on their parents' vehicle insurance? G1, no. G2, yes. If you're driving a vehicle and you're a G2 driver and you live with the vehicle owner, even occasional drivers are said to or asked to be on the insurance. And what happens if they are not? Well, they could deny your claim in the event of a collision. What is this question? Why are speed traps legal? Satfir wants to know. Why are speed traps legal? Because speeding's illegal. And the trap just means we're there to catch you breaking the law. We're not inducing speeding. We're not forcing you to speed and then going, ha ha, we got you. Because you're talking about, are you confusing traps with entrapment, where we create this situation where you speed but you didn't want to and then we charge you for it? No. Measuring the speed of vehicles on the road is our job, at least part of it. And catching you breaking the law is good because then we work to get your license taken away from you. It's part of the process. We want you off the road if you're not a responsible driver. And that's pretty much it. So it's not a speed trap. You're speeding, we're catching you speeding, and that's it. All right. If you're watching and have not yet liked till your finger went numb on the platform you're on, or retweeted or reshared or subscribed or whatever the options are on the platform you're on, please do. We'd like to make sure we're always sharing this with as many people as possible, despite the horrible lag today. My apologies in advance. I have to change my settings. I moved rooms and suddenly it wants to be 1080p. I mean, really. Zombie said hello a few moments ago. I read it. I meant to acknowledge your hello and then didn't. I'm bad. But Zombie wants a dad joke from. Oh, you've got a dad joke from your dad? I'm ready. Let me know. I look forward to sharing an authentic dad joke. Let me know when you're ready. What is this? Someone says, I think Canada is getting sovereign citizens. We have people who think they're sovereign citizens. This whole sovereign citizen baloney is just that. It's baloney. But they get arrested a lot. You wouldn't believe how often we arrest sovereign citizens who basically say they don't need to pay or have licenses or follow the laws because they're sovereign. And then they get arrested. Or they get hurt. They really, really want an ambulance to come. They don't want to pay for anything. And they indoctrinate people into this fantasy world. Anyway, here is the dad joke from Zombie's dad. What happens when doctors get frustrated? They lose their patience. Well done, Zombie Dad. I like that. Stephen Bell says, I know a little bit about the law, but I don't know a lot of the law. Dylan says, sovereign citizens are the peak of entertainment. I love their binders. They're like scrapbookers with ancient laws or fictional laws, but I do find them entertaining. I'm actually fortunate not to be interacting with them on the road anymore, but they are regularly arrested, and it's usually not a fun thing. Okay. Harmony McCrossan has a question. And that question is there a charge for driving before getting a G1? Turning 16 next month. And this is specific to driving in parking lots or on Old Back Road. Different answer for different location. For driving on private property, so if your back road is a road, an actual road, then you cannot drive on it without a license. If you're talking about your driveway and you happen to have a 2-kilometer driveway, it would not be illegal for you to drive on that. If you were driving in a parking lot in private property, it would not be illegal. And that is because there is no charge on private property for driving without a license. It applies to driving on a highway, and the highway is any road in Ontario. That is a city road or a provincial highway. So there is something you need to know. Insurance will not cover you if you crack up the car. Sagar wants to know if I can go on the highway alone at 3 a.m. Well, it depends on what your license is, what kind of license you have. To say that you're going on the highway really depends on what kind of license you have, because you kind of need one of them. Oh. Marco's question, small question. I have my ownership issued from the Service Ontario, and it is not legible. Can I get a ticket? I would question why it's not legible. I'd go back and get it replaced. They should replace it at no charge. If you damaged it, like water damage or something like that, yeah. If it's useless and illegible, it's not worth the paper it's smeared on. Do you think that fines are over the top compared to the state's fines? We are the lowest fines in Ontario for speeding, or in Canada for speeding. I'd like to see them increase dramatically. When it comes to stunt driving, we have high fines and high consequences, which I think is great. At the end of the day, what motivates people to do the right thing? It's usually something they don't want, a consequence that they're unhappy about. And if they were to get a ticket for $1,000 and something that would generally increase their insurance so much that they wouldn't be able to drive, and points so high that they would lose their license and get suspended, those are real motivational things that might actually work. I can't remember where it is, but there's places that have had fines as high as $250,000 because it was based on the income level of the person who broke the law. There's a lot of support for that, especially from the people who suggest that rich people can do what they want because they can afford the tickets, and maybe there's some truth in that. So how do you combat that? Well, you make it so incredibly expensive that even someone who is wealthy would feel the pain. At the end of the day, we need people to stop breaking the law. Why? Because we want to make roads safer for everybody. It's simple. It's really, really simple. We want to protect drivers and vulnerable road users because we lose too many to collisions on an annual basis. I forgot how many we're at now. Is it 50? Usually we end the year around 50 or 60. I don't know. I haven't been watching the stats yet. And hey, Lou Thrasher says, price of tickets should be based on income. Many rich people don't care about fines. And I hear about that all the time. I am not rich. I am not poor, but I do not want to pay anything to the government for laws that I could just follow and not have to pay anything. Like parking, I'll walk a block, or I'll find legal parking somewhere. I'm not gonna pay $50 or $100 to park out in front of the place that I'm going into. I'm not that special. If your kid doesn't want a nap, they are resisting arrest. Got it. If your kid doesn't want to nap, they are resisting arrest. Hey, my kid, yeah. My kids don't nap anymore. I nap more than my kids do. I like to nap. What is this? Oh. Do you guys pick the amount a ticket costs, or is it based purely on how fast you went? In terms of speeding, there's a chart. And it is based on, I have an electronic representation of that chart, which I will show you now. So basically, I can slide this. Where's the button? I can slide this based. Is it going to slide for me? There we go. As it goes up and down, it calculates the speed, and it's based on the speed. That's my personal phone, because Instagram is on my work phone, and let's see, we got a new follower. I wave to you, new follower, and I say new follower because I'm not going to try and pronounce your name because it will be incorrectly pronounced. I had to go through a process. I'm going to try it. I'm going to say, I don't want to say it. I'm going to make a mess. If someone is driving with an Indian license in Quebec, can they drive in Ontario with the same license? No, that's not the button I wanted. Chase will come back to you. Try this again. If someone is driving with an Indian license in Quebec, can he or she drive in Ontario with the same license? If you're lawfully permitted to drive there, you're visiting Ontario, and you're entitled as a visitor to Ontario to drive with your foreign license for a period of time. But once you become a resident, you only have 3 months. So it depends on how long you're in for. And technically, I think it depends on how long you're in Quebec for. But there are conditions when you're allowed to drive long term. Like if you're a student and you're there as a foreign student temporarily there, they I believe allow you to continue using your foreign license where we do not. So that's thick as mud, right? That's my answer, or clear as mud, I should say. Can't even make a good reference like that, messing it up. Yeah, mud is thick, but clear as mud. Yeah, whatever. Okay, I never understand how you could have a windshield banner as long as it's outside of the wipers area, but if you have tint in the same area, it's illegal. It's because one is clearly regulated. So I understand why. Yeah. Also, are you at Indy every day? I will be there every day. I will be there full day, Friday, Saturday, Sunday at Honda Indy. If you are coming to Honda Indy, come say hello at the Toronto Police booth. We are going to be next to the OPP and the MTO, from my understanding, and we will have, of course, some heritage vehicles. We may have a surprise vehicle that I'm just trying to finalize over the next couple of days that I'm really excited about, really excited about. And we'll be doing some live streaming from there, because that's what we did last year. We probably won't be doing our regular show, and we might be limited as to the number of platforms we're on. We might be focused primarily on one, or maybe we'll do one at a time. And to answer Chase's question, is Kerry going to be there? It's my understanding that Kerry is going to be there. And you're going on a run here. Blinky should come, but he cannot come. He's got other engagements. We actually asked Blinky, and he said, I'm taking a day off. No, he's got somewhere to be. Another event in the city. Can you believe there's something more important than Indy? What can you do? Okay. Is it necessary for to drive in Canada with an international permit, or can a person just drive with a license? Depends on where you're from. I would direct you to go to our link tree, which is trafficcop.ca. And there's a link at the bottom under useful links that breaks down which licenses are accepted, what the rules are in the place you're going, because your license may not be accepted depending on where it is issued from. The deal is, though, that you, at 6 months visiting without an IDP, regardless of whether or not it was accepted, it stops to be acceptable. If your license is entirely in a language, in an alphabet that cannot be understood, you need the IDP to translate it. Because really what an international license is a translation card issued from a acknowledged agency in your home country. So it extends also a 6-month ability to a year. But your license had to be capable of, or permissible, valid. Without it, it doesn't just make it valid. So, yeah. Hello.
Hello.
I've been rambling just so you could join us.
Well, I'm glad you waited for me.
There's this microphone. You got levels.
Right.
I'll zoom out a bit. Woo.
There we go.
We have more room. We can make it look really spacious. There we go. Now we can give ourselves space and still be in camera.
Yeah.
And then nobody's on Instagram. Just an arm and a nose and yeah.
There we go. Well, what do people think?
About the new space? Well, they've been zoomed. One person liked it.
Well, we're not quite done yet, but we're working on it.
And there's lots of good things. Actually, it feels cooler now. It was not cool earlier. I was melting.
Yeah, actually, I think the air conditioning is finally turned on.
Maybe
For the
possible.
last day of this heat wave, and
Yeah, that's
they'll
what
turn it off, in the winter.
yes. It's either hot in this. It's hot in the summer and it's cold in the winter, as long as it's uncomfortable, it's being done properly. We talked about this already. Crosswalk question again from JM. The crosswalk has a red light facing cars going east-west. There is a street that goes south that ends there. Can cars going south turn left even though the light is red? What? I don't know what the context. Why is the crosswalk important here?
So I'm thinking, I'm kind of reading between the lines there, that some intersections are governed by amber flashing lights, which are warning signals that pedestrians would like to cross. But some pedestrian crosswalks are actually governed by traffic signals. And there's an obligation on drivers to come to a complete stop with a red traffic signal. Do you think that's the one we're talking about here?
I think before I can give an answer, I think you need to rephrase your question so that I can understand what you're asking. Because I don't want to guess. I don't want to give you bad info. It's really important to pick up what you're putting down so we can give you the right answer. So try again. No, we don't have to submit another coin though. You've paid already. Lucas wants to know: is chameleon reflective tint legal because it passes the amount of light blockage requirements? And sadly, at least from your perspective, the answer is no. Chameleon reflective window tint is reflective, and reflectivity or reflective tint cannot be used on the windows left and right of the driver. That's because it's reflective and it prevents us from seeing inside. And the rules is that you cannot obscure the interior of your motor vehicle with reflective or color coatings.
Yeah, it actually does specifically say reflective coating. So no matter how much of light transfer you're getting to there, if it is one bit reflective, it is not allowed. And it goes without saying that included in the windows left and right of the driver would also be the windshield.
Windshield is a hard no, regardless of what color it is. You just can't tint it.
Yeah.
Mind you, and people say, well, what about UV tinting? Well, they usually come with UV tinting already embedded if it's a modern vehicle. So there's no reason to tint it in any way, shape, or form. And tint, truly changing the color coming through it, is not permitted. Johnny noticed.
Yeah, actually I did. You know what? Good for you, Johnny. Very few people actually in my office yesterday noticed that I shaved. I just came back from a vacation. I had a goatee going and it was getting a little long. I was kind of looking the biker look. So, I needed to clean it up before I came back to work.
Yeah, and we all recognized you.
Well, everybody knew who I was.
He has a name tag.
There was only a few people here that went, "Oh my goodness, you look younger."
Oh.
Oh?
Okay, so there was a question. Interesting. So Oreo and I have been chatting amongst lives, and there's something called a Suron vehicle, and the question was whether or not they could take it on the road. So I do remember you and our conversations. So he says he got the Suron verified for the street by Transport Canada. I only had to modify it a little bit, but they didn't say anything about needing a license to drive it. Do I trust them? So I think that it's very important to understand that there are very specific requirements for e-bikes. And there are Surons that are e-bikes, and there are Surons that are motorcycles. And if I pull up, and let's go to this is actually a really good opportunity to chat about this. Suron. Let's see if I can do a search. Suron.c. Okay. Did you say it was the Ultra B? I think you said it was the Ultra B. Does that look like here, let me share it on the screen. Graphics. Let me turn this one off. I want to share with you this stuff. Okay. So this is their website.
It looks pretty cool.
It does look cool. And here, I can put it on half screen. So it's an $8,000 MSRP, so not cheap. Doesn't look like a bicycle to me.
Well, a lot of them don't look like bicycles. Where's the pedals?
I don't see any pedals. I see pegs. So first off, if it doesn't have pedals, it's a motorcycle. And
100%.
And needs a license.
You have to actually be able to pedal it for it to qualify for the exemption.
It's 12.5 kilowatts of peak power. 500 watts is the most. This is many times over more powerful. It has a top speed of 90 kilometers an hour. If it is capable of going more, I have to move over here so you can see. If it is capable of going more, we can do it this way. We'll go back to this. If it's capable of going more, it is, let's do it this way. Then it is like more than 32 kilometers an hour. It is a motorcycle.
And quite honestly, if it's been certified by Transport Canada for use on the roads,
You need a license.
as a motorcycle, that's pretty cool. But you would need everything that a regular motorcycle would need: a Class M license or Class M2, Class M1. You would need helmet. You'd have to have all your safety equipment. But if it's certified, the safety equipment, including light horn, road approved tires, would already be included in it. So yeah, the next evolution of electric motorcycles, I think.
Well, there are a number of manufacturers that make light dual sport, and they do have a dual sport version available from them out of the box. But again, it's a motorcycle. So dirt bike being on, and I have video of one of these going down Lakeshore, like on the bike path.
Yeah,
And I haven't done the math to determine exactly how fast they were going, but they were going real fast. I don't need to do their advertising, but it might be legal for the road as a motorcycle, but it is not legal for the road as an e-bike. So don't trust them because they're wrong. Someone's knocking. Come in. We're live. And now the door closes. I will eventually lock that door.
Who is that?
That was Andrew.
Oh.
Okay. What is this? How do you feel when a fire apparatus is parked diagonally on the road during an incident? It blocks the road for us. They're helping
I actually
us.
feel safer having a big fire truck that weighs tons as opposed to my little police car sitting out there, especially on the highway. They will only do it to protect the emergency service workers or the occupants of a car that's been involved in an incident. Yes, it does slow down traffic. Yes, it slows them down on purpose to reduce the risk for everybody involved.
So, Andy, is a passenger side mirror required? Oddly enough, there were vehicles in the 80s and 70s that only came with one mirror.
Yep.
And I seem to think it was the passenger side that it had, not the driver's side. Was it the driver's side or which one
It
had
was the driver's side.
It had the driver's
It had
not,
the driver's side. And
so then it wouldn't be required. But at the end of the day, why would you not want to have both?
If your vehicle is manufactured with it, then it is certified with it.
Interesting.
And you would be required to have it. Although the Highway Traffic Act, I do believe, just says one with a clear view to the rear.
You must have a clear view to the rear. And that could be like you can take both. Okay, if you have a rear view mirror on the window, you don't have to have either, because you could take your doors off on a Jeep and have the rear view mirror with a clear view unobstructed to the rear and still qualify.
Now, that is according to the Highway Traffic Act, and any offense that we would write under that. That may not be according to
For certification.
Transport Canada and the certification of the vehicle.
Interesting. 6 ways from Sunday, you have to look at it. What is this?
So if it's not Transport Canada approved or it's deviated from it, then the only ticket we would give you is not having a clear view to the rear or an unsafe vehicle.
Here's a follow-up from Oreo. It has a restriction of going 40 kilometers an hour, which, by the way, is illegal because it goes more than 32 kilometers an hour, which makes that a motorcycle and not legal. And there's a cable you can cut to make it go as fast as it says. So that makes it capable of going faster. So let's take for granted for a second that it only goes 32. You're saying 40. But it has a peak output at 12, was it gigawatts? It was megawatts, kilowatts. It was, I was thinking Back to the Future. It's still capable of going. It has a motor that is larger than 500 watts. And 500 watt motor size is I believe, a fixed thing. It's a motor that's capable of going faster, being restricted electronically. It's still capable of going faster. It's not street legal.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
and just because I have to correct you, it's 1.21 gigawatts.
Gigawatts. Thank you. I got a ticket going 107 and a 100. Is that normal, or did I get unlucky? Well, you are speeding. It is illegal. Were you actually going 107, or was it reduced to 107? when pulled over, did you say, I'm really sorry, I was doing the wrong thing? Or did you say, but I'm only doing 107. Why are you bothering me? Because attitude can sometimes determine whether a warning is issued versus things. So I'm not judging you based on that, but yeah, it depends.
You know what? 101 is an offense in a 100 zone. So can you get a ticket for 101? Yes. The offense of speeding is committed. The speed only affects whether it is a stunt driving ticket or it changes the points and the fine that is associated with it. The offense of speeding is completed when you travel 1 kilometer over the speed limit.
And I love people who go to court and say, but I was only doing 10 over and they charged me for 20 over. I was never doing 20 over. And they've just admitted to speeding more than the
speeding is the offense.
Very easy to win when they do that. Like Chef says, can a G2 driver drive a family member's car that's insured by the car owner? Legally, a G2 driver can drive any insured motor vehicle with permission. However, if they live in the same house, your insurance company may take they may not accept that without them being listed on the policy, and they could deny a claim. Michael says 1.21 gigawatts.
So your insurance question, insurance is a private contract between you and the insurer, or the vehicle owner and the insurer, or the person who's paying for the policy. Whatever rules they set in place, and they can set any rule they want in place, you have to follow. As far as the Compulsory Automobile Insurance Act, where offenses are laid, the vehicle would still have liability insurance. It just wouldn't have all the other coverage, and your claim could be denied. And if there's a lawsuit, you may be liable for it.
Okay, going back to JM, second question, or second time around. The crosswalk has a red light facing cars going east or west. There's a street that goes south that ends there. Can the cars turn south?
Same question.
I saw I thought that was the second time. And then they confirmed by saying, yes, it has a red light. I don't think we've clarified much based on your clarification, but
if the cars going south are facing a red light, they cannot make a left turn no matter what.
Yes.
Anytime you're facing a signal light that is red, with one exception of making a right turn on red when it is safe to do so, or a left turn from a one-way to a one-way.
Yes.
When it is safe to do so. All other times, you must come to a complete stop and wait until a green traffic signal is displayed.
Otherwise, you're proceeding before green and a whole bunch of bad things happen.
Yep.
Okay. What do we got here? We got last question from TikTok, from Tejpal, who says, speeding up on a motorcycle when a car is tailing you just for your own safety, is it speeding? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it is.
Speeding is speeding.
Yeah. Getting out of the way, pulling over, slowing down sometimes is better than speeding up. If you do something, know that you're taking your chances. Can I understand why you might want to do that? But if someone's chasing you, you're just going to incite them to go faster to continue to harass you. Pulling over, letting them pass you is the better way to go.
And you know what? If you're doing the speed limit and they're tailgating you, if you speed up to 10 over, 20 over, 30 over, when are they going to stop? The faster you go, the more risk is involved with it. So, get out of the way. Whether you're driving a motorcycle, whether driving a car, whether driving a bicycle, best thing to do is look at the risk and keep yourself to the safest you can.
It made us so small. I want to make us a little bigger. Okay. Is that? I think that might be better. You can still see. Can you still see? Careers. Interested in becoming a member of the Toronto Police Service? We're hiring. We're hiring all sorts of different roles: police constable, special constable, parking enforcement officer, and then we have civilian roles, non-uniform roles that you don't have to go on the road to do because they're non-uniform. Benefits administrator. They currently have a posting there. Senior programmer. PeopleSoft must be the platform that you have to know how to do. And then communications operator, those are the magical people who answer the phone and dispatch police officers. They make it happen. They make it possible for us to do what we do because they tell us where to go. So thank you to them. And if you want to be one of them.
And we actually like them to tell us where to go.
Yes.
Where other people just happen to tell us where to go and we don't really like it.
That's different. If you'd like to know where to get some great information, as well as links to all of our social media platforms, you can use trafficcop.ca, which takes you to my link tree, and then you'll get links to the Special Olympics as well as all of our social media. Hey, you know what else you can do? You can get great information like how to use a report online. In fact, a friend of mine called. He said, "I got a problem. People are parking in the place they're not supposed to. They're blocking a bicycle lane." I said, "Go online." Well, what's the website? I said, trafficcop.ca. And it was perfect and then he said, "I can't find it." So I actually did the same thing, scrolled, and it's like, it's right there. Anyway, it worked out really well. If you're a pedestrian or cyclist involved in a motor vehicle collision, you can actually come here to make a report. You can start that report online before you get here. That's only for pedestrians and cyclists, and you can go to any one of the three reporting centers, but the one that's here is downtown, maybe more convenient for you. I added some links. Driver's license handbook, information. There's so many people who ask questions that this answers so clearly. So I added a link. If you have links that you think I should add, please let me know. Driver's license check. Want to make sure your friends are licensed before you loan them your wheels. This is what you use, and why would you want to use it? Because you're responsible for them. If they choose to drive without a license, they show you a plastic card. You think they're licensed and they're not. Well, you get a ticket. You're responsible. Renewing your license plate, these are obvious. Cycling in the law, this is a City of Toronto website that details all sorts of stuff that we talk about on a regular basis, but I have separate links for e-bikes and e-kick scooters that deal with the rules there. Just all sorts of stuff. So this is good. You can get there. It is free, so use it. Anyway, that is it for us. Do you have any dad jokes?
I have a whole pile of them, and I didn't bring them in. Because I just jumped off a meeting to run in here and catch the very end of your show. So,
and then we went.
We may have to do it some other time.
Yes.
Tomorrow's Friday.
Friday.
Yeah.
Yes, this is true. I do have. Where did I put it? In the move, I have misplaced my wonderful calendar of jokes. But I do have this deck, so we can use this one. We did have. We had a zombie's dad gave a joke, which I already read, but I don't think you heard it. And it was. Let me scroll back so I can find zombie or zombie's dad. It's actually zombie dad because her dad is visiting and provided said joke. And it was, what happens when doctors get frustrated? They lose their patience. I liked it. I liked it that I gave it. Then
I can't stick around for too many of them because we are running late.
We have
a
things
few
to
other
go.
things going on.
Yes.
And I got a message to give somebody a call. So
what did the O say to the 8? Nice belt?
Yep, I get it. What happens when you put a belt on your nose? Yeah, you like it.
I get it now that I thought about it, but it wasn't a zinger. Last night, my wife and I watched 2 DVDs back to back. Luckily, I was the one facing the TV. All right, that's it. Here's the traffic song to say goodbye. We'll be back tomorrow where this may look different.
I may not. We'll try.
Well, we hope so. In any case, if you're going to be driving, drive sober, drive safely, park legally, and we'll see you tomorrow. I had to fix the traffic song. I pressed the wrong button.
Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely helps the traffic flow. Watch for pedestrians, look out for bikes, and don't drive like a jerk that no one likes. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely is the way to go. Put down your cell phone, nobody needs you to text and drive on the DVP. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Stop at stop signs, look both ways, then go. Seatbelt, save your life indeed. And watch your driving, don't speed. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely is the way to go. Don't drink and drive or smoke some weed, because you might go to jail and not get free. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely helps the traffic flow.
I really don't get tired of that song. Anyway, it has been a slice. We'll see you tomorrow. And I'm seeing all sorts of questions that are still coming through on TikTok. I wish I could stay longer, but I got to go help someone for an hour. I will be back at 12:30 on AM 640. I'll do a quick live as I join them to talk about stuff and things on air in Toronto. So if you'd like to join or watch or see what we got to say, then tune back in. We'll be here then. All the best.